here today from the OFAH Heritage Center. Today's lesson is all about the largest member of the Cervidae family, the moose. Cervids are hoofed mammals and include deer, elk, caribou, and moose. In today's lesson, we'll aim to answer 5 questions all about moose. How do we identify a moose? Where do they live? What do they eat? What challenges does the moose population face? And can you harvest a moose in Ontario? How do we identify a moose? Moose are considered a big game mammal, and they are by far the largest member of the deer or cervid family. They can stand up to 2 meters tall at the shoulder, and males can be over 3.5 meters tall when you include their head and antlers. That's taller than an NBA basketball net. Male moose, also known as bulls, can weigh between 540 and 730 kilograms. And female moose, known as cows, are a little bit smaller, but they can weigh between 360 and 600 kilograms. That means moose can weigh as much as some boats. An easy way to distinguish a bull from a cow is by the presence of antlers. Only bulls can grow antlers. Males will carry a large rack of antlers from summer into the winter. Typically, these antlers span a width of 120 to 150 centimeters, but they can span as large as 180 centimeters wide. These antlers can also weigh as much as 39 kilograms. That's as much as 2 car batteries. Fresh antlers are covered in velvet to help circulate the fresh blood needed for full antler development as the antlers grow year by year. Antlers have a primary beam that fans into paddles and then heavy spikes called tines. Males use their antlers to demonstrate their stature and strength during mating season. 2 moose, typically with similar sized antlers, may face off by locking their antlers together to fight for a mate. The winner will stand their ground and get to stay with the female, while the loser will eventually walk away or could end up getting hurt. Bulls will shed their antlers between December and March. And once antlers are shed, it can be very hard to distinguish between a bull and a cow. This is one of the many reasons why moose are hunted in the fall, so that we can determine sex at a quick glance. New antler growth will begin in April or May each year, and they'll grow until late summer. New antlers are covered in a dark brown velvet material, but once they reach full size, the velvet will dry and fall off or be rubbed off, giving way to the brown and lighter colors we typically associate with moose antlers. Moose have a unique body shape. They have long, slim legs that support a large, muscular body. These legs help the animal move through deep snow, swamps, and thick vegetation. They have a deep body that's very muscular at the shoulders, which is why moose appear to have a hump. Moose have a heavy head with an elongated nose and very large nostrils. Their fur allows them to live at high latitudes, or quite far north. It varies in color from light to dark brown, reddish, and even grayish brown. Moose fur is hollow, and it can trap air inside to provide the animal with insulation from the cold weather. That being said, they don't do so well in the summer heat because of this fur. Because of this, moose will spend several hours per day in the summer cooling off in the water. They're very strong swimmers, and they can dive greater than 5 meters deep for plants. They've even been known to swim as far as 20 kilometers in one single swim. That's almost as long as us running a half marathon. Surprisingly, moose have terrible eyesight, and they rely on their other senses to help them out. Their sense of smell and hearing compensate for this. Moose also use their antlers to help funnel and amplify sounds into their very big, mule-like ears. They can move their ears and swivel them in different directions to hear things all around them and to warn them of potential dangers. Moose have what is known as a dewlap, or a bell. This is a 30 centimeter long, fur-covered piece of skin that hangs from their throat. The dewlap's function in moose is unknown, but it is suspected to help with heat exchange, to transfer scent from one moose to another, or to transfer scent to an object in the environment. Moose have huge hooves that can splay or spread out. On deep, soft ground like snow or mud, the split hoof can spread quite wide. This increases the surface area of the moose's foot, and it supports their weight much better, just like humans using snowshoes, and it helps prevent the moose from sinking into the soft ground. Hooves can also be used to scrape away snow or earth for revealing food on the ground. And in the spring and summer, when moose take to the wetlands in search for aquatic vegetation to eat, these hooves function as paddles for very strong swimming. Being so large, moose hooves leave unique tracks in soft ground. Moose tracks left on the ground can vary in size from about 10 centimeters long for a moose calf up to almost 25 centimeters long for a large bull moose. Moose are vocal animals during the mating season, known as the rut. Cows will use nasal-toned bawling sounds to entice a mate. It sounds like this. Bulls will typically respond with a series of grunts and deep bellows like these. Newborn calves are also vocal. They'll make low grunting sounds that turn into human-like wails as they develop. Where do moose live? Moose are widely distributed across the forested regions of Canada. Moose are found throughout the boreal region, but are also found in mixed forests south of the boreal forests. They typically stay close to bodies of water, such as streams, lakes, and muskegs or swamps. In the winter, they typically remain in forests with reduced snow cover where food is more accessible to them. In winter, moose often yard up, which means they congregate in large groups in suitable habitat. They can be known to travel up to 150 kilometers to overwinter, which would be like us walking from Toronto to Niagara Falls. Moose bed on the ground, much like deer. They leave huge imprints in the grassy areas or snow where they have bedded down. Moose are also often found in and around areas where logging activity has cleared sections of the forest. They love to eat the fresh green growth that springs up from the earth in these places. This early successional growth, as it's called, creates an abundance of fresh new green shoots from various trees and plants and makes for a perfect area for a moose buffet. Which brings us to our next question. What do they eat? Moose are herbivores, meaning they're adapted to eat a diet of only plant material. The word moose is an Algonquin word that means eater of twigs. It's a very accurate way to describe them. They enjoy eating leaves, bark, and twigs from trees and shrubs. Their preferred species include willows, aspen, Manitoba maple, and balsam fir, amongst many others. They also consume aquatic plants from streams and ponds from spring through till fall. What challenges do moose populations face? Disease and parasites are a big concern for Ontario moose populations. The meningeal worm is a large concern for moose when their range overlaps with white-tailed deer. This worm can affect the nervous system of the animals, causing them weakness, fearlessness, lack of coordination, circling, deafness, impaired vision, paralysis, and subsequent death. It was originally a parasite of the white-tailed deer, who are well adapted to it, and therefore it doesn't negatively affect them. Moose, however, are not adapted to this parasite, making it deadly when it spreads to the moose population. It is therefore very important to properly manage moose and deer populations, especially in regions where they overlap. Moose can also be affected by chronic wasting disease. CWD is a disease of the brain and nervous system that affects white-tailed deer, mule deer, moose, elk, red deer, and reindeer. It's known to be highly contagious between the members of the cervid family. CWD is caused by a misfolded protein known as a prion, and it belongs to a group of diseases that also includes mad cow disease. Animals with CWD may show several signs as the disease slowly damages their brain. Some of these are very hard to detect, but signs may include weight loss, excessive salivation, disorientation, tremors, stumbling, lack of coordination, and paralysis. Signs can last for weeks to months before the animal eventually dies. However, some animals may never show any signs of the disease. Luckily, as of the time of this virtual lessons production, CWD has not been detected in Ontario, but the MNRF has been conducting surveys at hunt camps and asked for voluntary involvement in a free testing program in harvested deer. Our last question today is, can you harvest a moose in Ontario? The answer is yes. When preparing to hunt, it's important to refer to the most up-to-date version of the Ontario hunting regulations, as some details do change from year to year. Moose season varies by Wildlife Management Unit, or WMU, but will open as early as September and close as late as December. Archery hunting typically comes first, and later in the season, firearms are allowed. To legally hunt moose in Ontario, you must possess a valid outdoors card with hunting accreditation, a moose license, and a moose tag, or be party hunting with someone who possesses a valid moose tag. To hunt with a firearm, you must also possess a firearms license. Moose tags are awarded in a point-based draw system, and they require hunters to choose which WMU they want to apply in, if they want to apply for archery or firearms, as well as if they want to apply for a bull, cow, or a calf tag. Hunters must apply to this draw system in the spring, and they're awarded their tags mid-summer. As you can imagine, moose hunting requires lots of planning and preparation. At the end of the moose season, hunters with tags and licenses are required to submit a report to the MNRF, even if they did not harvest a moose. This information is critical for managing moose populations and is another way hunters contribute to conservation. Thanks so much for watching today. Be sure to like this video and comment below. Don't forget to check out the resources section on our webpage. There you'll find free printable resource material, like mini lessons and activity pages to follow up the virtual lesson. And please subscribe to stay connected as we learn together outside the classroom.